Thank you so much, our Provincial Commissioner, General Mawela. I want to thank you and your team for the hard work and everything that you've done overnight. I want to acknowledge our Executive Mayor, Councillor Kwamanda. I want to thank you for your team in particular, the emergency team, and everyone that has been with us ever since, and acknowledge members of the mayoral committees that are here, from police, finance, utilities, and ward councillors that are here, and those that are in charge of various institutions. I also want to acknowledge the presence of the city manager and the entire management structure, so the COO as well, and want to thank them for the work that they continue to do, and further acknowledge representatives of various institutions of government. We have a consolidated report that has been crafted by all affected parties. They came together and consolidated a report, and I'll go through this report as speedily as possible so that we can cover literally everything that needs to be covered. The report will outline the current situation and take us through the orientation, that is the setup of the area, and also unpack the roles and responsibilities of each and every institution that has been part of this responsibility, and we'll share information with you about those that are injured, fatalities, as well as the road closures within the city, how the teams are managing the entire situation. Because we suspect one form of gas or another, we'll also give an update on the recent information that Egoli Gas has provided to the team, and also the process of recovering vehicles and releasing them to the appropriate owners, as well as social development related matters, that is housing, evacuation, and the management of those that are homeless and destitute within the city. We can now formally confirm that the SAPS received a call about the explosion around 17:45, and the explosion affected Lilian Ngoi, commonly known as previously as Bree Street, and Loveday on the western side of the city, and this went on to affect Klein Street on the eastern side, and Rahima Musa on the southern side, and Plain Street on the northern side. I'm emphasizing these points because you will then understand why we've closed or demarcated those roads so that we can manage the situation. The police indicates that there is a portion of Risik Street that is also affected, and that they've received reports now formally of damage of property and also damage of buildings, vehicles, as well as injuries of pedestrians. We'll then take you through those injuries later on that has been compiled by our teams. So all relevant role players were immediately contacted, and they rushed to the scene, and a joint operation center was established. That's exactly where we are. I want to go to the roles and responsibilities of the teams that are here, so that by the time you ask questions, you know who's here and who's doing what. The Johannesburg Road Agency was assigned the task of traffic diversion, signal design, and concrete barriers so that the city can be accessible, but the area that is affected can be protected. The city manager was assigned the task of dealing with all outer perimeters matters and also prevent unlawful interference in terms of the scene. JMPD, they were posted across all intersections together with the SAPS so that they can manage the road closures and also ensure that the scene is not contaminated. SAPS also manage the movement of members of society and also the movement of members of the media, and also to ensure that those that are within the residential area are confined to the areas that have been declared to be safe so that we can manage all related matters. We are told that there were 10 teams representing both the police, JMPD and POPs, and more members are being mobilized so that we can protect the scene and ensure that everything is fine. The Department of Human Settlement was assigned the big task of identifying the homeless and also those that have been asked to leave the area. We identified 3 Joburg Street, which is at the corner of Joburg, to be the area where we'll house everyone that needed housing. Unfortunately, majority of the homeless, they just vanished and left the scene, but the team is trying to track them so that we can be in a position to understand why they didn't want to go to 3 Joburg Street where they were assigned to go. Because we are suspecting gas, we've now formally brought all institutions that deal with gas. We now have Egoli Gas, we've brought Sasol, and we are bringing anyone that has either underground pipes or cabling, telecom, water, and any institution that we really believe will assist us just to determine the cause of the impact and also give us the necessary advice. So we have brought those institutions, including City Power, who have since taken a decision to switch off. I think that's the Bree Street substation. So that the team can go in there, identify the cause, and also assist us to identify areas of intervention, areas that need our immediate intervention. So Egoli Gas is continuing to assess and rehabilitate the pipeline where it's necessary. And Sasol, they've got their pipelines, but they are at the outer sides of where the explosion took place. But we have brought them so that they can also advise and guide us on areas where they believe we need to get informed information so that we can be in a position to take the appropriate decision with all the law enforcement agencies. Johannesburg Water and Environmental Health are assessing the gas leaks. Even though Egoli Gas insists that it's not their pipeline, but we all know that it's now common knowledge that there is a high smell of gas in the entire area. So the teams from environmental health are assisting us to determine where this gas comes from, and also to advise us on the actions that we need to take. Unfortunately, during the process of handing over the vehicles that were affected to their owners, we found a body of a male underneath the cars, and that particular body has not been identified, and we are trying to locate relatives and family members. So we can indeed confirm that we've got one fatality. The body was discovered at the corner of Lilian Ngoi and Joburg Street. It was stuck underneath the cars when the team were handing over the cars to their owners. The collated information about the number of people that were injured now stands at 48. But currently we only have 12 patients that are remaining in hospital. The rest has been discharged. So the total tally remains at 48, with 12 still remaining at hospital, and the rest were discharged either late last night or early hours of this morning. The patients were transported to Hillbrow Hospital, South Rand Hospital, Garden City Hospital, Malberton Hospital, and Charlotte Maxeke Hospital. We want to deal with road closure and traffic diversion. This is a headache currently. The teams are trying extremely hard. Because we have closed major roads, and Bree Street is the busiest roads, is amongst the busiest roads in the CBD. There are lots of taxi ranks, there are lots of drop-offs, and there are lots of people that have indicated their frustration about the signage and the movement of areas where taxis are now stationed and areas where they need to connect their transport. But we are assured by those that are working on this matter that as soon as we get the cause of the explosion, they will move with speed to release some of the roads. But because we have to be cautious, a majority of the roads remain closed, and the teams are even trying to check they can't change one-way roads into two ways or ensure that the road management or the traffic flow management is accelerated in a manner that it doesn't cause frustration to motorists and to other road users. As earlier indicated, Egoli gas remains our center of focus because all of us agree that the cause of this either explosion or impact is gas, so that we can isolate all institutions that have the legal mandate to deal with gas. So we now know that Egoli gas have a blue line, it's an 80mm steel pipe that cut across Elof and Lilian Street, but you are told it's a low pressure facility. We also have a 355mm high density PP pipe that goes through Bree Street as well. But we are also advised it's a low pressure pipe as well. And then there is another 355 high density PP pipe, which at this present moment we've been advised that that's the high pressure pipe that is running at 22 kPa and is situated between the two street blocks, the north from the incident and east to the west. So another green line that is running underneath the sidewalk parallel to the road surface. So we've asked them to identify all their pipes. I know it sounds too technical, it's also too technical for me. We've asked them to identify all their pipes, and they've given us this information, and then we'll hand over to those that are experts, and they can then advise us on how to take this process forward. How many vehicles were involved or affected? To date, we've counted 34 vehicles, and the 34 vehicles have been handed over back to the owners. But there were those that were in a bad state. The police have advised that those that were in the best state are 7, and they advised that they should be kept at the scene. so that those that are dealing with investigations can continue to conclude their investigations. There were 4 private vehicles that were handed over to their owners. So of the 34 that have been handed over, majority of them were taxis. And you know, it's an industry, and therefore they have to do business. And we didn't want to delay that element, and they were then handed over. In conclusion, our technical experts continue to do their work as directed by the city manager and law enforcement agencies, and they will keep the area sterile until it's rehabilitated. Road closures and diversions will remain in place until further notice. The provincial government and local government have started to set up a disaster process of identifying how quick can we rehabilitate the affected areas, especially those that will have a severe impact in the economic activity of the city. So we want to protect the economic activity of the city so that we don't affect those that are employed, or affect businesses, or affect courts and other related activities that are taking place within our CBD. I want to leave it here, but also confirm that our structural engineers have been deployed to the scene, that those that are specializing on OHS, that those that are specializing on structural and civil, and that those that are specializing on fire detection, geotech, and gas utility, so that they can continue to update us on all these matters. So for now, we want the team to rest because they've been busy overnight, and we need their expertise. We suspect, but our communication teams will issue that statement. We will give you another update around lunchtime, 1 o'clock. Hopefully by that time, additional information will be available. We are still searching for the source. You can see the way we've isolated various elements of the explosion. We are still searching for the source, the cause, so that we can be in a position to intervene and provide the necessary solutions. Until we find that source, it's extremely difficult for us to provide the guidance on all other matters that need our immediate attention. I'm not sure, Executive Mayor, I'll hand over to you as well to add areas which I might have missed, and then hand over to the Provincial Commissioner.